Good morning, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News Brief. Today is December 26th, 2018. I hope everyone had a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you had lots of fun with your friends and family, and you took a moment to give thanks for everything we've been given in the year of 2018. 2019 is going to be even better than 2018. First of all, today I have a report from The Blaze. God, is anybody else bummed that CRTV is no more? I realize that they're going to live on as The Blaze TV, but I wasn't like the hugest fan of The Blaze. But I don't know, maybe I didn't give them enough of a chance. Perhaps they will get better now that they have merged with CRTV. But regardless, report says government wasted $114 million studying quails on cocaine, daydreaming, Prince Harry opera, and other projects. God, this is brought to us by Rand Paul, senator from Kentucky. Rand Paul has released his 2018 Festivus edition of the Waste Report, an annual project that this year details $114 million worth of wasteful spending by the U.S. government. The U.S. government currently has a total of about $22 trillion in debt, the report notes. How did we get there? According to Paul, part of the nation's debt problem relates to frivolous spending. I would have to agree, Senator Paul. Some of the top ticket items include in the report the following: more than $76 million in stipends to soldiers in the Somali National Army, $650,000 to develop a drama series to air in Afghanistan, as much as $1 million to help support and develop the legislative process in Libya, and $18 million for tourism in Egypt. What? The total $114 million that was spent on the projects could have paid for nearly 1,000 miles of paved roads, 800 small business administration startup loans, or more than 2 months of NASA aeronautics. How was the money spent? Here is the report's list of how the government spent the money. Provided stipends to soldiers in the Somali National Army, $76,321,379. Promoted the already overcrowded farmers market industry, over $13 million. Taught Rwandan special interest groups and citizens how to lobby, $250,000. Used theater to combat homelessness and poverty, $15,000. Studied the sexual habits of quails on cocaine, over $874,000. Why? When is a quail going to get his hands on cocaine, and why does it matter? This is insanity. Funded a fictionalized opera about Prince Harry, $15,000. Made videos marketing U.S. colleges to Indian students, $75,000. Blew leaf blowers at lizards, what? $75,000, over $75,000. Supported legislative priorities in Libya, over $1 million. I would just like to say that if it wasn't for our deposing the government of Libya, that would have been completely unnecessary. Puts on plays in Afghanistan for $200,000. Studied horse and donkey hunting at the ancient Anatolian Peninsula, over $361,000. Supported Egyptian tourism for $18 million. Wow. Paid to bring British student social activists to the U.S. Unnecessary, $200,000. Encouraged people in the Republic of Congo to use local resources, $35,000. Studied daydreaming, almost $2.5 million. Jeez, oh Pete's, I'll tell you all about daydreaming and you don't have to pay me a cent. Conceptualized games in India, $50,000. Paid for museum trips in Bosnia and Herzegovina for Bosnians and Herzegovinians, $50,000. Developed a Pashto language TV drama series for the Afghan state, $653,000. Taught female interpreters in India how to vlog, $50,000. Supported asset seizure programs in Paraguay, $400,000. Wow. Total taxpayer dollars wasted, $114,514,631. That is insanity. Just think, every year, how much money gets wasted on these BS programs. This is crazy. All that money, they said it. They said all that money could have been used on infrastructure here in the United States, and it would have been put to such better use. Wow. Rand Paul really, really does a great job, and he's one of the few. Thank you, Rand Paul. Well, now that Christmas has ended, I thought it would be only fair if we also looked into the history of Kwanzaa. This is a report from the Daily Caller, and it says the creator of Kwanzaa is a criminal loon who allegedly tortured a naked woman with a karate baton and a toaster. Wow. It's Christmas time, America, and you know what that means. It's almost Kwanzaa. It's also the season when public school classrooms across the fruited plain have pointedly avoided Christmas, but have teamed with lessons about Kwanzaa and a handful of other holidays which aren't Christmas. As a public service, then, the Daily Caller is once again here to tell you the true and truly bizarre history of the violent, deranged, and radical black nationalist who concocted the completely artificial holiday of Kwanzaa in 1966. The creator of Kwanzaa is Maulana Nebadetha Karenga, a 77-year-old professor of African Studies at California State University, Long Beach. His real name is Ronald Everett. He was born in rural Maryland, the 14th child of a sharecropping Baptist minister. Karenga was convicted in 1971 for brutally torturing two naked women. The weapons of torture included a soldering iron, a vice, and, of course, a toaster. The women were members of Karenga's ultra-radical paramilitary black nationalist cult called the U.S. Organization, which went by the acronym U.S., according to contemporaneous news stories. Investigators said the women were held at gunpoint, forced to disrobe, and were beaten. Deborah Jones, who once was given the Swahili title of an African queen, said she and Gail Davis were whipped with an electrical cord and beaten with a karate baton after being ordered to remove their clothes, a Los Angeles Times article reports. Karenga tortured Jones and Davis with the help of other members of his cult because Karenga believed that the torture victims were using magic crystals to assassinate him on behalf of his enemies. The victims said they were living at Karenga's home when Karenga accused them of trying to kill him by placing crystals in his food and water and in various areas of the house. Jones and Davis denied the charge that they were using special crystals to murder Karenga. The denials were reportedly not helpful. When they denied it, allegedly they were beaten with an electrical cord and a hot soldering iron was put in Miss Davis's mouth. Oh, God. And against her face, the contemporaneous 1971 newspaper article says. Jones also testified that one of her own big toes was tightened in a vice. Karenga, head of U.S., also put detergent and running hoses in their mouths. Miss Tamayo reportedly put detergent in their mouths. Smith turned a water hose full force on their faces, and Karenga, holding a gun, threatened to shoot both of them. The victims also said they were hit on the head with toasters. Vietnamese torture is nothing compared to what I know, Karenga allegedly said during the lengthy bout of torture. A psychiatrist who examined Karenga in 1971 concluded he was insane. A sentencing hearing transcript shows that the unidentified psychiatrist believed that the founder of Kwanzaa was both paranoid and schizophrenic. Judge Arthur L. Arkan ordered Karenga to undergo mental testing to determine whether Karenga had so deteriorated mentally that he was a threat to society. The judge read from the psychiatrist's report in court in September 1971. Since his admission here, he has been isolated and has been exhibiting bizarre behaviors such as staring at the wall, talking to imaginary persons, claiming that he was attacked by dive bombers and that his attorney was in the next cell, the psychiatrist's report said in part. During the part of the interview, he would look around as if he was reacting to hallucination, and when the examiner walked away for a moment, he began a conversation with a blanket located on his bed. This man now presents a picture which can be both considered paranoid and schizophrenic, with hallucinations and delusions, inappropriate affect, disorganization, and impaired contact with the environment, the report said. Oh, remember Patty Hearst? Karenga concocted Kwanzaa in 1966 as a secular, non-religious Pan-African holiday. At the time, he was a 20-something graduate student living in Los Angeles. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa, perhaps your grade school child has spouted them to you, are unity, self-determination, collective work, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith in ourselves, rather than faith in God. These 7 Kwanzaa principles are identical to the 7 principles of the infamous Symbionese Liberation Army, the murderous bank-robbing gang of revolutionary terrorists who kidnapped newspaper heiress Patty Hearst in 1974. A U.S. congressional document from the House Committee on Internal Security lists the Symbionese Liberation Army's 7 principles as unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative production, purpose, creativity, and faith. During a 1975 bank robbery, Symbionese Liberation Army members murdered Myrna Opsahl, a bank customer. The 42-year-old mother of 4 bled to death on the floor of the bank. Members of Karenga's U.S. organization murdered 2 Black Panthers in cold blood. The murders occurred in 1969 when the U.S. organization and the Black Panthers were fighting over which group would control the then new Afro-American Studies Center at the University of California, Los Angeles. There were reportedly an acrimonious meeting after 2 members of the U.S. organization, brothers George P. Steiner and Larry Joseph Steiner, accosted 2 Black Panthers, John Jerome Huggins and Alprentice Bunchy Carter, and shot them to death. The Panthers were also armed, and one of them apparently shot one of the Steiner brothers in the shoulder. Karenga spent just 4 years in prison. He received a sentence of between 1 and 10 years for felonious assault and false imprisonment in 1971, related to the torture of Deborah Jones and Gail Davis. A successful campaign by supporters who wrote letters to state officials led to a grant of parole in 1975. Karenga received a Ph.D. in 1976 from United States International University in San Diego. The school is now a for-profit institution called Alliant International University. Karenga also received a Ph.D. from the University of Southern California in 1994. Of course he did. The name change. At some point in the 1960s, Karenga decided he didn't want to be Ron Everett any longer. Instead, he gave himself the name Malana, which is Swahili for master teacher. Karenga means keeper of tradition in Swahili. I got a couple things I need to teach you, girls. Wow, can you believe it? This is the man who invented Kwanzaa, the trash that they are pushing down our children's throats. This is unbelievable. Guys, I think this is pretty important information, and I would ask that people share this video far and wide, because Kwanzaa was made, at least to me, it was made out to be just an innocuous, Pan-African celebration of the holidays. Well, when we say happy holidays, this is what we're talking about. Merry Christmas, everyone. And lastly, for today's morning news, another report from the Daily Caller and a slightly different turn on the GoFundMe controversy that's been taking place recently. A homeless GoFundMe scam is now over. All money has been returned. Do you guys remember there was that couple and the homeless guy? All of the donations made to a fraudulent GoFundMe page set up by a New Jersey couple and homeless man who fabricated a story about donating his last dollar to put gas in a stranded woman's car have been returned. The couple, Mark D'Amico and Kate McClure, created a GoFundMe page for Johnny Bobbitt Jr., the conspiring homeless man, in November 2017 as part of an elaborate story the group actually concocted to deceive donors. The couple made national headlines for raising more than $400,000 for Bobbitt after receiving donations from over 14,000 people. 14,000 kind, good-hearted people who were taken advantage of. After investigators looked into the case and discovered the whole story was made up by the couple so they could raise funds for themselves and split their profit with Bobbitt, who was allegedly addicted to drugs. GoFundMe spokesman Bobby Withorn said on Tuesday that all donors who contributed to this GoFundMe campaign have been fully refunded, according to the Associated Press. Now, what's particularly striking to me about this case is that these two people, they made a deal with this guy for the money. And you know why they got caught? Because they tried to cut him out of the deal. And then he went to the court and tried to sue them for the money. And it just blew up in their faces. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for their greed, then they might have gotten away with it. We have a zero-tolerance policy for fraudulent behavior, he added. If fraud occurs, donors get refunded, and we work with law enforcement officials to recover the money. The whole gimmick started to fall apart when Bobbitt, supposedly a homeless veteran, sued the couple in August for not giving him the entire $400,000 raised by the couple's GoFundMe page. The lawsuit alleged that they committed fraud by taking large portions of the fundraising money for themselves. It also claimed the couple bought an expensive car and took a vacation, which Bobbitt speculated they used the money they raised to pay for. Investigators say the McClure, D'Amico, and Bobbitt intentionally chose not to disclose information to their donors that would affect their judgment about solicited contribution to that fundraising effort. They face charges of theft by deception and conspiracy to commit theft of deception, according to Fox News. Well, I am so glad that these people who donated to this fraudulent scheme were able to get their money back, because these people are just scum. Look at them. This is the kind of stuff we have going on today. Technology allows us many perks in today's world, but it comes with many, many dangers. Stipulations like this, you need to look into what you're donating to, all right? Now, I fully trust in Brian Kolfage and his GoFund the Wall campaign. I think it's unlikely that that money is going to be used for that, but I know that what he's done has sent a strong message to Washington, and our legislators are paying very close attention. And I think that the time has come and we are actually going to get the wall funded. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much, and God bless.